How seriously do we take the command to tell the coming generations what we know of God and of worshiping God? Let me put it this way. How many of our thoughts about music and worship revolve around what we like, what we prefer, what interests us, and what we find appealing? And how often is that attitude passed on to our children or those who know us? Now, let me make it clear. You don't have to be a parent to benefit from what I'm saying. Because if you're 15, it's only a few years before that next generation kicks in. And you'll be looking back and saying, oh, I'm not the youngest generation anymore. Oh, that's not very far away at all. And when we think about musical worship in that way, just about what I like, what I prefer, what I think is best, what's appealing to me, it has consequences. I think that it may be one of the reasons churches develop different meetings for different musical preferences. While in the short run, that may bring more people to a church. People may actually get saved through that. I mean, not as a result of that, but because they like the music and they hear the gospel and they're born again. But in the long run, it keeps us stuck in the mindset that musical styles have more power to divide us than the gospel has to unite us. And that's not good. It leads us to think that musical styles have more power to divide us than the gospel has to unite us. Here's a question. How do we pass on the biblical values of worship to coming generations when we can't even sing in the same room with them? I think that's an important question. How do we pass on the biblical values of worship to coming generations when we can't even sing in the same room with them? We must see beyond our generation, both backwards and forwards, both past and future, if we're to clearly understand what we must do now. Otherwise, we're guilty of what's called a cultural narcissism. We're just so caught up in what's happening around us that always views the present generation as the most important one, even though there are multiple generations surrounding you. That's what a cultural narcissist is. As Winston Churchill insightfully wrote, the further back you can look, the further forward you can see.